Thursday, October 25th, and I'm your host, Paula Hersey. On today's show, we get more information on rideshare regulations for companies like Uber and Lyft, and fly into the airport for an October update. Let's start with some news you can use. Concurrent regulation hearings are on the meeting schedule today at Town Hall and at the same time. You can choose between dogs or shellfish. A public hearing will be held today, October 25th at 10 a.m. in the hearing room on the new dog park rules to add to the 403-8 dogs on beaches, recreation areas, and dog parks. At the same time, in the hearing room as well, changes to the town of Barnstable's shellfishing, eel, herring, and aquaculture rules and regulations as proposed by the Natural Resources Program of the Marine and Environmental Affairs Division after consultation with the Shellfish Committee. Again, both of these meetings are in the hearing room at 10 a.m. Rideshare regulations are now in place for drivers with companies like Uber and Lyft. Assistant Director of Planning and Development, Elizabeth Hartsgrove, has information from the DPU and the impacts for drivers and riders. With me today in studio, Elizabeth Hartsgrove, and she's going to talk about rideshare. Rideshare here in the town of Barnstable? What's going on?
Yeah, it's very popular everywhere, and we are not exempt here in Hyannis and Barnstable in general. So rideshare, it's been just recently regulated by the state because there was a lot of going back and forth between communities as to who would be able to regulate it. And this happened, the discussions began probably 5 years ago when Lyft and Uber and other types of organizations were starting to come onto the Cape, and it was everywhere actually in the state, but predominantly here because that's where it hits us is home when we see it and we hear it. And taxi companies and other types of entities were coming to us and talking to us and asking, well, how do they get regulated? How are they exempt from the rules? And the whole state was going through that conversation as well. And so back in 2016, the state actually passed regulations that, because rideshare and transportation, it doesn't end at the border. Right. It really passes around, and people just don't ask, okay, I'm just going to go to the edge of the town and then I'll find another ride. They go across and they keep going, and that's the whole purpose of transportation. So the state saw that they needed to come in and help, all of our communities, the 352 communities, and put together regulations. And what they do is the regulations they created this division within the Public Utilities Department. It's called the TNC, or Transportation Network Company Division. And this division oversees the drivers, the permitting of these drivers, so they do background checks, they do security clearances, and they issue the licenses. And then they issue the licenses over the companies themselves. And so this is on an annual basis that they do this type of process. They also do the enforcement of any type of regulation. So if a consumer has an issue with a particular driver or a company itself in the practice of their business model, they then go to the state and they issue the complaint. And then the state goes through the enforcement process of it. So back in 2016, when all of this started forming, right. It wasn't as prevalent here on the Cape. It had, they popped up here in time and time again.
I saw one Uber sticker.
Well, it's interesting because in those regulations, so in those regulations back in 2016, there was a little stipend saying that for every ride that a rideshare actually picked up, they needed to pay 20 cents to the state. And then there's this fund, this TNC fund that is formed and created, and 10 cents goes to the community. And the community then uses those funds for mitigation purposes of how whatever we need to help us with organizing and all of the impacts that possibly this new operation could have on our community. And so back in August, the town council, we actually received our first check because it was complete of a full year in 2017, and we received our first check. So we only get 10 cents per ride, right? So keep that in mind. The town council approved the appropriation of over $11,000.
Wow.
And that was the second sign that actually made me realize how much of an impact it was having on Barnstable. Prior to that, my staff down at Bismore Park, which we all are very familiar with, was constantly telling me that there's a lot of Ubers, there's a lot of Lyfts around, more so than taxis. And so, you know, I'd go down there and check it out, and lo and behold, yeah, there's like 15 at a time. So it was really prevalent. And then when hearing about this money coming in, that over $11,000, and we only get 10 cents per ride coming in, it really made it apparent that we needed to do something, because this was becoming very popular, and it's not going away because it's an opportunity for people to take advantage. Why not take advantage of it?
Sure.
And it's something that we should actually embrace, because it's a new way of people getting around our community, and also getting around to other communities. We all equally share, and we should cooperate in this. So, so we have now a team looking at ways that we can keep them organized down in the really hot spots where they actually are. And you can go on your app and you can look where they are. It's really interesting. You can actually see them driving around, and you can see them mostly around, well, you know, it's not any surprise, around the airport, around Bismore, around the 132 corridor of the business district. So that's where and the hospital is the other one. So, so we've come up with a task force, and right now we're going to be looking at Bismore, because we have so many rides down concentrated in that one
Right, well,
tiny
the ferries
area.
right in that area is really just one of those hot spots for people needing to be picked up. This also keeps some cars off the road as well, so
It does. It
a
does.
win-win situation.
It does, and not just off the road, but not parked down at Bismore.
Right.
That's really what the key is, and that's why I think we should be embracing this, because it gets people down there, but we don't get the traffic staying down there, those cars being parked there. So, and that's where the congestion really occurs. And so, so we have an internal task force looking at this, and we are meeting with Highline on a regular basis, and we're going to be coming up as a team together on a new way of keeping this new transportation opportunity organized in a nice manner, so everybody is safe and everybody gets whatever needs they need.
Right, and it's actually heartening to hear that the playing field's been leveled with the taxi companies. They have been, you know, to the point where, you know, there needs to be some regulation. You know, we don't want to regulate everything out there, but when it's dealing with safety and with passengers, there should be some rules.
Absolutely, I agree with that. And that was where also we saw the need to be addressed down at Bismore, because it wasn't on an equal playing field, because we don't have a taxi stand even for the taxis. So we're looking at it equally, both of them. We're keeping them on the same level of playing field, so we're going to be helping them out, and so that they're a success down there.
Okay. And rideshare, we just want to make people understand what it is, because when I first heard this, I was like, oh, carpooling, but it's not carpooling.
No, not really.
It's ride sharing, which is a new transportation service that subcontractors basically work for a Lyft or an Uber or other types of companies that would provide transportation service from point A to point B.
That's correct, and it's all through a social media app. So on your cell phone or your tablet, you can download the app, and then everything is done electronically. So you can actually see the rates of where you want to go to, and also it's based upon the demands of the day. So during rush hour traffic, the price is higher, because there's more people vying in and trying to get those particular, you know, the small little number of rides that are available in that area. So, but the nice thing is that you don't need a car, and everything's done electronically, so you don't exchange money with the driver. And the driver is safer that way too, because they're not vulnerable with a lot of cash or money transactions being occurred. So, and it also shortens the communication. That's hilarious, because I'm having trouble with my words here. It is shortening the communication barriers between drivers who aren't really secure in English, or even passengers who aren't secure with English. They just put it in the app, and then the driver knows exactly where to take the passenger. So yeah, there's a lot of benefits to rideshare, especially I see a lot of parents taking advantage of it, so their kids actually go on rideshare when they are commuting to a school choice that is out of their jurisdiction. So there's a lot of opportunities, even senior citizens that need to get to a doctor's appointment or something, college students that need to go between campuses. You know, there's a lot of opportunities to take advantage of this. Yeah.
Right. And I like that you're addressing the safety concerns. You know, you did put in the new parking, weight parking at the Highline Docks in Bismore Park this past summer, this spring actually, and that worked really well. So, you know, looking at those safety issues, we just don't want people wandering about and cars just like circling the area.
Yeah, it did have an impact. You know, those 9 spaces that we did the 15-minute wait period, it did actually, because we had so many additional ride shares, we had not expecting 15 at any given time. And right now, like when the ferries come, you can see 10 of them. In the end of October, there's about 10 to 12 ride shares right down at Bismore waiting for passengers to get off. And it's really telling. It's telling a story there. So, and what happens is if there are no parking spaces available, what they do is then they wait in the aisles, and that's where the safety concern actually pops up, because we have a lot of people with luggage and they're just not watching.
They're on vacation, I'm not paying attention.
Or they're motivated to go. They know their direction, they know where they need to go, and they just move, and you have a boat of 500 people getting off, it can get really congested down there fast. So we're just trying to make sure, as our #1 operational standards, the safety is #1 for us. So this will help out a lot.
And then safety parameters as well for drivers, background checks, that was really heartening to hear that as well, because, you know, those, sometimes people are reluctant to use new things because they're not sure of who they're going to get into a car with. But with new background checks and some of these other regulations, you know, you can rest assured that your driver has been checked out beforehand.
Yes, I agree wholeheartedly with that. That's really important, and I'm so glad the state is actually taking ownership over this.
And we get a dime for every ride.
We get a dime for every ride, so we'll see how, you know, next year's, you know, check comes in. We'll see. So.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Liz.
Thank you.
After a busy September at Barnstable Municipal Airport, manager Katie Service soars into October. We have an update on all that is happening this month at the airport.
We have a lot going on. I mean, we've just finished our huge season. Our summer season is always busy here at the airport. We were very successful again with JetBlue. Events that we've held in the airport terminal, such as the Cape Cod Young Professionals Back to Business Bash. They've already scheduled their 2019 bash here at the airport. So we're moving and shaking. We're doing a lot of different things at the airport. We have an evaluation committee that has been formed. That committee will, each individual member of that committee will go through those proposals, digest the information that has been presented. The proposals specifically require that they look at the evaluation criteria that will be used by each committee member. So we'll be looking at the proposals to see the content, their proposal of layout and development of the Kmart parcel. The committee will meet on several occasions to discuss both their individual review of each proposal and to come to a determination on a final recommendation to the Airport Commission and to Town Council for development of that parcel and the company that will develop that parcel. There's not really a hard, fast time, although we have developed a schedule for the evaluation committee. Initially, you know, we didn't know how many proposals that the airport was going to receive on that parcel, so we were keeping it a little bit open-ended in case we had to look at 15 proposals per se. So one of the things that we did look at was, you know, how long would it take us to go through, let's say, 5 proposals, and we developed a soft schedule based based on that. So we're looking at probably January timeframe, December, January timeframe, to have at least an idea of who will be recommended to develop that parcel based on the proposal. That recommendation will go to both the Airport Commission and Town Council for final approval. Final approval will be with the Airport Commission. Very exciting. Cape Air has developed a flight schedule that starts October 23rd that will fly from Hyannis to Nantucket and then down to JFK. They anticipate doing this particular route in between JetBlue's arrival in the summertime, which is fantastic. I think it's a great opportunity for the community to be able to continue those flights to JFK. Once you get to JFK, you can fly just about anywhere or just go for a weekend in New York City. Christmas time is coming, so it might be a good opportunity to get out there and to be able to board a flight here in their hometown airport is essential. I think it's something that our community has been looking to improve upon for several years. And I think that, Cape Air offering those flights, it's a gap that they're providing that gap of service that our community desperately needs. So bravo to them for starting that opportunity here at Hyannis Airport. The Retrix shuttle, not only do they fly to and from Hyannis to Nantucket, but they also have LaGuardia flights on the weekends, and they're continuing to service LaGuardia. It has appeared to have been successful for them, so little by little the community is going to have more and more opportunity. Allies Aviation is another company that provides charter service out of Hyannis. They typically are going to Nantucket, but you can contact them for other types of charter flights to different destinations. So we're growing. The airport is slowly making a turnaround. There is a significant pilot shortage across the nation, not just here in Hyannis. It's a significant pilot shortage as well as a significant shortage in aircraft mechanics, power plant, airframe mechanics. And so for the past several years, the aviation industry has been looking at ways to incorporate aviation education, more importantly in secondary schools, to provide more of attention to aviation programs, to get children involved in aviation and different types of parts of the aviation industry, and to just get a sense of what does aviation mean? What are the jobs that you can potentially do in the aviation industry? And so it's something that we really need to move forward. Workforce development is very special to this airport. We have the headquarters for Cape Air right here at this airport. Retrix Shuttle is here with their new flights. They're seeing the effects of the pilot shortage. We have Heritage Turbines, that is an operator right next to the airport. They're not physically on the airport. Atlantic Aero Support, Griffin Avionics, who's on the airfield. These are all companies that are being affected by the lack of students that are coming through aviation programs and providing jobs for those students in the aviation industry. So it's been very difficult for these companies to continue on and to have a good support system by educators that will allow these students to learn about what their opportunities are in the aviation industry. So one of the things that both Matt Ilya, the assistant airport manager, and myself embarked upon was looking at our school system within the town of Barnstable, for instance, and identifying where we could potentially elaborate or add to the curriculum that would include aviation education. We just recently spoke to the superintendent of schools. They seem to be on board with that approach, and really we're at its infancy, but it's something that is near and dear to us. We have to start somewhere. We're going to start in the schools, and then, to be honest with you, the airport itself needs to have programs in place here, in whether they're internships or businesses on the airfield, that will allow those students to continue their education. Those need to be in place as well. Women in Aviation is an international organization that I have been a member of for quite some time. We do not have a chapter in this location. The chapter that I belong to was in New Bedford. That are not as active as they used to be in the past. And so several tenants on the airfield came to talk to me about starting a chapter here in Hyannis. So we're going to do that. We have an introductory meeting on the 17th of October, but we will have future meetings, and we will place those meetings on our website so that anybody can attend, anyone who has interest. It's not just for women. Men are also can be members of Women in Aviation. And it's really our chance, again, to educate our women that there are alternatives, there are different industries that you can get into, and yes, aviation is one of them.
And just another gentle reminder on the recycling changes at the transfer station. Solid Waste Supervisor PJ Kelleher has all the details. Change is hard, we know that. So we're out at Barnstable Transfer Station today talking to PJ Kelleher, who is the supervisor here at the transfer station, and looking for you to start separating your recyclables. PJ, this has been coming for a little while. Tell us why.
It's been coming for a little while because, as everyone knows, we are single stream, but the market for single stream has, in lack of a better term, it pretty much collapsed. We're trying to separate it at the facilities and market it so those facilities can stay in business just isn't feasible anymore for them. So we have been trying to get by, but it's at that point where we need to make a change to help us out.
Right. So from single stream, we put all of our recyclables in one bin. Now we're going to start to separate again. And this is where some confusion with our residents are. And let's clear that up for them. So let's start with corrugated cardboard. That was always separated.
Corrugated cardboard, we already separate that out. That is not changing. The locations are staying the same on that. So all the corrugated cardboard you've done in the past is still the same cardboard you're putting into the bin, starting October 1st.
Right, and give me a little example of corrugated cardboard so people know.
The easiest way for corrugated cardboard is your Amazon boxes.
Okay.
If you took the box, when you open it up and you look at the flap, and inside the flap you see the wavy ribs, that's considered corrugated. It's
Okay.
the easy way to tell. If you can't tell from the edge, give it a tear and you'll be able to see the waves. If it doesn't have those ribs, it's a paperboard, regular cardboard, which ends up in another one of our new containers, mixed paper.
Mixed paper, that always makes people's heads explode. What is mixed paper?
Mixed paper is a mixed bag of tricks. It has anything you can think of for paper: office paper, newspaper, the Stop and Shop flyers, the mail you get. That all goes into the mixed paper bin.
Magazines?
Magazines, same thing, right
How
into the
about
bin.
envelopes with cellophane windows?
If you could rip the cellophane window off, put that in the trash. It's that thin film plastic that is the biggest enemy when it comes to recycling.
Okay.
If that could get pulled out as best you can, you don't need to, if you can come off one fell swoop, put it into your trash, that'd be great. And then take the envelope, throw it right into the mixed paper bin.
Okay, we have been separating tin and aluminum for a little while
Yes.
here, so let's just review with folks what is acceptable for
All right.
metal and tin.
Yeah, starting July 1st, a few months ago, we started taking the metal and tin cans out of the single stream. For a variety of reasons, they carry weight to them. It lowered our weight on the single stream. Also, metal continually has a value. It fluctuates just like anything else. So the metal food cans, if you have a tuna can, a soup can, the pineapple juice cans, coffee ground cans, all of those, what goes into the metal bin. But the biggest thing is they need to be rinsed out. You have to rinse them out, give them a wash through, then throw them into the bin. If they're wet with water, that's not the big deal. It's the food residue and all that causes, like anything else, mold, stickiness, and then that can contaminate the load.
Not to mention critters.
Yeah, and problem we're running into right now is the ones that people aren't washing out are attracting bees this time of year. So
Okay.
we're doing what we can. We're trying to come up with some new ways to keep the bees away. So, be careful as you come up to the bin. We're working on it as we speak to try and make it better for everybody.
Okay, and labels on cans, is that okay?
If you can peel it off with anything else, it's great. If it's stuck with the glue, it's stuck. There's
It's
really
stuck.
not much you can do.
Right. Okay, so we've done mixed paper, we've done corrugated, we've done aluminum and tin, and everybody's favorite, plastics.
The biggest question we've been getting on the phone calls and emails is plastics. All your plastics, 1 through 7, are gonna go in the bin. There's a couple things, everything with plastic, there's always something. There's
Right.
always a exception to the rule. Styrofoam by name is all the technical names. That's the name everyone knows it by. The packing peanuts. Those are plastic, but they are not recyclable. Those are a big contaminant. Right now there's nowhere to get them recycled. Unfortunately, they do end up in the trash. That's where we need you to put them. Okay. The bulky rigid plastics, big wheels, little kid playhouses, the 5-gallon buckets, those don't go into the plastic bin. Those go into our demolition pile. So if you do have those items, stop at the gatehouse. As with our demolition, if they are very large and have a lot of weight, there may be a charge to them. Okay. Without seeing the items, we can't really give an idea on it. But stop at the gatehouse, they'll direct you where to put them. 5-gallon buckets though, with the big thing is reduce, reuse, recycle. A 5-gallon bucket, you can use it for tons of stuff. You can use it to carry your recycling in. Yep. Most of them have a handle. You use it, dump it. You can use it for our food waste. Bring it in, dump it, especially if it has a cover, to be a great way to do it. So a 5-gallon bucket can be reused, which reduces the recycling of it.
Right. Now, a question that we've always come across as well is that under the recycling number, sometimes there's little words like PETE. Mm-hmm. What do those mean, and is the item still recyclable?
I can't recite them to you right now, but that just describes the type of plastic it is. HD, EP, if I get the numbers right, high density polyethylene plastic.
Right. But if it still has those letters, is it still recyclable?
Still recyclable.
Okay.
Any questions, you can always ask one of the attendants we have. Feel free to give us a call. But there is a beautiful website, Mass DEP just started, recyclesmart.org. It has a little clip that describes what's going on with the recycling, and it has a tab on the top called Recyclopedia. Open the tab up, you can type in whatever item you have. It gives you a list as you're typing, like in a search engine, and then it tells you whether it's recyclable, what you can do with it, or it even gives other uses you could have for it.
That's fantastic. Yeah. One last thing, because I don't think we talk about it enough, is that you are composting food waste here.
Yes, food waste is something we started last year. It has picked up a lot of steam as this year's gone on, as people realize we have it. It's covered by your recycling sticker. It's covered by the trash sticker. You're allowed to use it. It's on our recycling line. It's the very last shed on the line. We have on the website items you can put in there. And essentially what it is, your food scraps, your table scraps. If you can, I'll give you the ways people do it. They have buckets they use that they put it into. They put them into large Ziploc bags, put it in the freezer till they can come in. And then we have giant toters in there. Drop the food waste in. We do put a trash barrel there in case you brought it in a plastic bag. You can throw that into the trash. And we have Watts Family Farm that comes, picks it up. They end up turning it into compost and reusing it for the items that they do at their facility, from animals that they have to regular old compost.
But really, what we can do is start to reduce and renew, and obviously recycling, it will be a change, but you guys are going to have some containers here for folks that haven't gotten the message yet?
Yes, we are still going to keep open 2 single stream containers for a period of, say, 60 days. We're going to work on phasing them out as, the people start to notice how we do it and get their setup at home, how they're going to do it. And we'll start phasing them through, and then after 60 days, we're going to be completely separating everything out.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, PJ.
No problem. Have a great day.
Here's a look at the community calendar. Looking for a little excitement this coming Friday night? Barnstable Village Association is planning its 2nd annual Monte Carlo night to help raise funds needed to provide the free annual events in their village, like the Jailhouse Jam, summer concerts, the summer stroll, 4th of July parade and festivities, and the Christmas stroll. On Friday, October 26th from 6 to 9 p.m. at Mattakese Wharf, Monte Carlo night will include professional gambling, tables with dealers, food, music, dancing, and silent auction. There will be no real money gambled. Attendees will receive $250 in play money, which they will cash in at any table for chips. I'd like to take this opportunity to wish one of the best guys in my world the happiest of birthdays. Happy 90th birthday to my dad, Rocky. Comments, suggestions, accolades? Connect with us on Facebook and Instagram, email us, or send us an old-fashioned note by carrier pigeon. Channel 18 works for you. I'm Paula Hersey, and thank you for watching Barnstable Today.